Let's learn how inflation works. Years ago, it was possible to buy goods like a soda for a much cheaper price in terms of rupees. However, today, things have increased in price, and we can expect that development to continue. The reason why this is happening is inflation, which happens when the RBI increases the money supply. You can think of this as simply printing more money. In reality, the RBI uses instruments like the reserve ratio. But if you think of the RBI as the determinant of the amount of rupees floating around in the Indian economy, you will understand the causes of inflation. Initially, it seems as though the reason why the government chooses to inflate the economy is because a moderate inflation protects India from deep recession and depressions. Another reason is that it serves as an indirect tax. This should be kept in mind as we move along further explanations of inflation. We learned that we should consider money as a symbol of the work that is being performed. As the amounts of rupees grow in India, every rupee's worth becomes lesser. That means that the goods you can purchase for 100 Indian rupees today is worth more than what you can buy for 100 Indian rupees in 1 year from now. One thing is how the inflation affects the consumer. Another thing is what inflation means to the investor. If you have a bond with a coupon of 5% and the inflation is 5%, in reality you do not make any money, at least not any real money. On paper you might have a higher number of rupees, but in reality you cannot purchase it for an amount you did a year ago. Your buying power or purchasing power is the same. We see that inflation has a severe negative impact on bonds as it affects the real return from the bond. The actual coupon or bond yield simply decreases whenever there's an increase in inflation. As an example, consider a coupon of 6% when inflation is 4%. This is similar to 2% in real return. Inflation also impacts stocks, although it's not to the same degree as bonds. As inflation occurs in the economy, so would the revenue and costs. As the revenue is higher than costs in businesses, the simple presence of inflation will also cause the net income to increase and in turn the stock prices. Now, not any real value creation has actually occurred, so who is better off? The government, for one thing, is better off since the investor pays taxes accordingly to the inflated value of his holding. If your nominal value of stocks is now priced at 1050 Indian rupees up from 1000 Indian rupees the year before solely due to inflation, you still pay tax on the profit of 50 Indian rupees. That is why in the beginning of this lesson we learn about inflation being a hidden tax. However, as a stock investor you are much better off compared to the bond investor. As inflation increases, so does the price of your holding. This is not the case for the bond investor who will only experience a drop in actual bond yield when inflation increases. Some key points are: inflation, a concept that occurs when as the money supply increases in society. As a result, your 100 Indian rupees will become less worthless every year. Purchasing power, closely attached to the concept of inflation. It is a measure of how many real goods you can buy for a given amount of rupees. This measure can be used for international comparison, and to show the impact of inflation over time. Actual bond yield. What that really means is that each percent of inflation eats away 1% of yield from the bond. For instance, a coupon of 6% when inflation is 4% is similar to 2% in real return. Thanks for watching.